for today's cup of coffee, I have something that is extremely ghoulish. So I'm going to go ahead and verbally say this is a content warning. And if you have weak stomach, weak constitution, weak mind, whatever, this is not the cup for you.
Damn, this is...
you need to go get you some blonde roast on this one.
I should have sat out for this one instead of yesterday's.
You're going to love this.
I just wasn't feeling horrible yesterday.
I understand. Well, I'm glad that you're back today because you were very, very missed. Hilo is not the conversationalist that you are.
I didn't read the comments, so I didn't read the comments just yet.
Well, it was just, most of my people don't comment. I think some of them are like me. They watch things on Roku, and there is no way to comment.
Exactly. That's why I don't comment on a lot of stuff, or because it's not possible on Roku.
Which they need to fix that somehow.
Absolutely, they do.
So, and I'm going to try to make it through without having to do 15,000 edits because I had an allergy attack a little while ago. Used yet another type of allergy medication.
And if she doesn't feel like editing, I can always edit for her.
Well, yeah, I would appreciate that. But I do pretty good. Are you ready to get on with the ghoulishness?
I hope so.
And it's like, those of us that, it's not a matter really of being morbid. It's just humans are fascinating. I studied psychology, got a degree in psychology, trying to figure out why humans do what they do. It gave me no answers.
There is no answer as to why.
It just gave me labels to use for certain things. The degree in art, I don't know. Maybe this is another version of the degree in art.
It could be.
The 3.5 years of nursing, that's to help family members because that was money well spent by my parents.
Yeah.
So, what we are going to be talking about on today's cup are some really horrible funeral homes.
Oh, is this the one about the babies?
Oh, yeah. We got all kinds of stuff. I thought,
ooh, babies found in ceilings and the walls.
There couldn't be that many, but,
there's a lot.
Wrong?
There's a lot, and it's fascinating.
It's disturbing.
It is fascinating.
It is disturbing.
Human corpses in the walls.
Well, when you think about it and it's not your people, it's interesting. If it's your people, it's horrific.
It's ghoulish and gruesome
it is
and mortifying.
Ghoulish. I told you this was ghoulish.
Oh, so I like this already.
This one is from 2018 from the Detroit Free Press, and this was by Frank Witsil. At least they gave me a byline on these.
Absolutely.
And the title of this article is Infant Bodies Hidden in Former Funeral Home Shine a Light on Industry Horrors. Yeah. And it says the morbid discovery of 11 babies' corpses in the ceiling of a former funeral home in Detroit, and the investigation into who hid them and why follows other incidents over the years that have stoked dark fears about the mortuary business across the country.
Yes.
I've wondered about this stuff before. What is the name of the lady who is the mortician that you like to watch?
I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I do know her YouTube name, and that's Ask Mortician.
That's it. Yeah, Ask Mortician.
Yeah.
And I can put a link for her channel because she has a different take on how bodies should be prepared and stuff. And she's got this nice ghoulish sense of humor. You would have to be a mortician.
She also has books, so I recommend go reading them. I have not got a copy of them, but I've read a little bit online.
Well, anyhow, and it says here, again, this was October the 13th, 2018, and on Friday, the badly decomposed bodies of 11 infants were found in the ceiling of former Cantrell Funeral Home on Detroit's east side, Detroit police said. State investigators had received an anonymous letter explaining how to find the bodies. Who wrote that?
It had to be
and
someone
how
that
did
worked
they
there.
know?
It had to be someone that worked there.
Oh, God. And it says the incident comes on the heels of others in the state.
Ooh.
it says in January, another Detroit funeral home, Barksdale, was closed after inspectors found unsanitary conditions, including blood-stained equipment and rat-infested cremated remains.
Ugh, that's horrible.
According to the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulation. How would you like to have been dispatched to that,
God, I would have hated it, but also I would
Oh
have been
my
making
God.
so many dead baby jokes.
No. This was the other
Put
one.
my
This
baby
was
in the oven.
the unsanitary conditions. Okay, and then in March, a Petoskey funeral home was shut down after a rusty machete was found on a counter in the embalming room.
What the fuck?
Human cremated remains were stored alongside those of a pet dog and pig, and embalmed bodies were left in an unrefrigerated garage, according to news reports.
Oh my God.
Then, in 2017, the state shuttered this other funeral home. That's the one, Jarzembowski? Jarzembowski.
There you go.
It's like Mike, what's his name?
Mike Wazowski.
Yeah. And this was for improperly handling nearly $200,000 in 43 prepaid funeral contracts. Well, at least that one wasn't morbid. That was just theft.
Yeah, that was just theft.
Then in 2016, Swanson Funeral Home in Flint faced disciplinary action after a state inspector found decomposing bodies in the funeral home's garage.
Oh my God, it's always the garage.
The funeral home at the time offered discounted cremations.
That's fucked up, man.
Don't get the discount funeral nothing.
I mean,
Okay.
to be honest, I want someone to string me up to one of these gigantic balloons filled with helium so I can just fly.
Yeah, so that you'd be one of the purple globs that falls down somebody's lawn. No,
Absolutely. I want to be that random body falling from the sky.
No. Anyhow, complaints were filed with the State Board of Mortuary Science. Well, yeah. And there was, let's see who it is. Darren Vickers, who is the Springport Funeral Home's director, who went to the home to pick up a body, was quoted as saying, "The place just reeked to death. It smelled like decomposition."
No wonder.
No shit. And it says, he said, "I'm a country kid and a funeral director. I'm used to bad smells. That place was disgusting. I can't even. And it says O'Neill Swanson III was charged with 10 felony counts of funeral contracts conversion in June by the state attorney general. He was accused of offering prepaid funeral contracts that he was not legally licensed to offer in a funeral home. And I will
Hurry
say,
up and die so we can get more money.
I did not look as far as these people that I'm naming were accused because I did not take the time to go back and see the verdict. So that is, they are accused. They are not convicted. Well, you can say that they were accused.
Okay.
And because any type of criminal record and stuff like that, that's public record.
All right.
God, I wish I didn't know that. Anyhow, in 2005, 3 men posing as funeral home employees stole a body from the Providence Hospital in Southfield, police said.
How do you steal a body?
Authorities,
they
were posing as funeral home employees. Authorities added that the unusual heist was likely part of a scheme to defraud an insurance company. Or not. Or not. They could have had other uses. There were other stories I found, but I couldn't verify. Yeah, I have found that, but I couldn't verify them. And I knowing you, that would have been like going too far. That would be crossing.
Who wants to fuck a corpse?
No, God. Anyhow, this one comes from The Guardian. And this is by Matthew Engel and was from February of 2002. And this is entitled, "More than 100 Bodies Found as U.S. Crematorium Gives Up Grisly Secret." That term, grisly.
Yeah.
That's sort of disturbing.
We love it.
And it says more than 100 bodies have been discovered around a crematorium in the U.S. state of Georgia. I do believe that the Guardian is British. By bewildered investigators trying to understand what they are calling the most ghoulish mystery they have ever encountered. And the crematorium manager, Brent Marsh, who was 28, was released on bail after appearing in court charged with 5 counts of theft by deception, stealing the bodies under the pretense that they would be cremated. And Marsh reportedly told authorities that the crematorium's incinerator was broken. However, many of the remains dated back at least 3 years, and on some estimates, several could have been there for more than 10 years.
Oh my God.
Officers fear the body count might run into thousands.
How do you get away with something that long? Is there no inspectors for that?
Apparently not. And
I mean, who would want to be a health inspector for a
County Coroner
for a
Dwayne
funeral
Wilson
home?
stated, "The worst horror movie you've ever seen? Imagine that 10 times worse. That is what I'm dealing with." I wouldn't have wanted that man's job. Oh, God. Now, you talk about some PTSD. I'd say that this man has some.
Just whack them with a stick.
It says that a search was launched on a Friday in the crematorium's 16-acre grounds after a woman walking her dog found a skull.
Ooh.
Dozens of corpses and hundreds of body parts were discovered almost at once, lying in woods or stored in outbuildings. Some of the bodies of people who had died in the past week were readily identifiable. Others were either mummified or skeletons.
Oh.
John Bankhead, a spokesman for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, said some bodies were found in rusty coffins that appeared to be as much as 10 years old. And Mr. Bankhead had stated at one time they apparently were buried in the ground in some other cemetery and were dug up and taken to the crematory. We don't know why that is.
No, we don't.
Grave robbers.
Grave robbers. Grave robbers.
And it says the Tri-State Crematory is in the small town of Noble in the northeast corner of Georgia. It also serves parts of Alabama and Tennessee, notably the large city of Chattanooga. Dozens
Why Chattanooga?
Dozens of funeral homes in the area use it, and the Marsh family has owned the business for decades.
Oh my God.
And Brent Marsh took charge in 1996 when his father, Ray, became ill. And this is interesting because the family was respected in the area. His mom was a teacher for more than 30 years and was once voted Walker County Citizen of the Year. Ray and Clara still live in a house on the grounds of the crematory. Why would you want to live on the grounds of a crematorium?
Why? Yeah, why would you? Probably the ghost stories.
Anyhow.
Probably the stories.
Brent was treasurer of his local Baptist church, attended Bible class regularly, and was a member of the County Board of Family Service. Investigators believe he is the only person implicated, but could not immediately explain why some of the bodies appeared to predate the time he took over. And Dr. Chris Sperry, who is Georgia's chief medical examiner, stated, "I have never seen anything like this. Neither have any of my professional colleagues, and frankly, we hope never to have to do so again."
Yeah.
And shocked relatives were having urns examined to see if the contents were the remains of loved ones, or, as officials now believe, just wood ash. And Lisa Cash, who thought her mother's ashes were on a table in her living room, said, quote, "I've got someone in an urn or something. I don't know what," end quote.
That's disturbing. That's disturbing.
And some of the other
God,
ones,
and I don't remember if Dad wanted to be cremated or not. I don't remember.
This one guy, he was...
God, that's going to be horrible.
He was actually kinder than I would have been in any of this. Marshall Wilson had stated, "I'd just like to get hold of the guy." And Mr. Wilson's brother was supposedly cremated. Well, yeah, he wasn't kind. That was what I'd like to do. It's like,
yeah.
and then there was another one. Tim Mason's father was the first to be identified. And he said, I mean, I can see you getting a few days behind, but months, years, I just can't imagine anyone doing that. And then his wife...
It starts with one body, then two, then
just
three.
Piles up. And his wife Neva had said, I don't know which is worse, their loved one dying or this.
Oh, God.
I would say it's the this.
Yeah.
And said there was no smell from the grounds, possibly because most of the crematorium's business came from the 2 neighboring states, and the law makes it compulsory for bodies being transported across state lines to be embalmed first. And it says a state of emergency was declared in the area as officials began excavation work that they estimated could last weeks or months. They fear many more bodies... You had to do that, didn't you?
I'm sorry, I was trying to put my cigarette
They
out.
fear many more bodies could be at the bottom of a nearby lake. Officials have set up a morgue at the site, believing it could finally yield several hundred bodies.
Oh.
Mr. Bankhead's described seeing boxes around the grounds, lying on piles of junk with bodies inside them. Close by the body parts strewn around, he said, a skull to your right, a leg bone to your left, a rib cage not too many feet away.
Their heads in the fridge.
Callers to the crematorium were met with a terse message. It says, please refer any calls to Walker County Sheriff's Department. The case comes a few months after a funeral company in Florida was accused of digging up bodies and dumping them in a nearby woods to make room for new burials.
I've heard of that happening.
Yep,
people burying bodies on top of bodies,
yes,
too.
Yep. I'm going to adjust the camera so that gives us a little more than just the dark. We've got light and dark now.
It's advanced darkness.
Right. Now, from June of this year, June 17th, by Matt Berg of the Bangor Daily News, 11 unrefrigerated bodies found at Lewiston Funeral Home. And says after finding 11 unrefrigerated dead bodies at the Lewiston Funeral Home last week, state regulators... I heard it pop.
Oh, God!
An order Monday suspending its
Nasty.
operation and the owner's funeral license. And it says an investigator was in the upstairs office of the Affordable Cremation Solutions. Oh, God, what a horrible name for a business.
It's horrible.
And this
Love
is
it.
on Main Street when he noticed an odor of decomposition, and that was reported by the Lewiston Sun Journal. The smell, which led him downstairs to the room where the remains were found, was so strong that he got a headache while waiting to enter. During a prior visit, the investigator reported seeing reddish-brown fluid on the floor that appeared to flow into the drain, according to the Sun Journal. At least,
nothing like the smell of rotting corpses in
really.
the afternoon.
At least 8 bodies had been stored
Fresh
in the
summer
room
day.
since mid-May. One of the bodies, too large to fit in a body bag, was found in an unsealed box.
Ew.
Soon after the discovery, the funeral home was shut down due to its hazardous conditions,
No shit.
according to the Sun Journal. Chad Piotris, that's why we're calling him that.
We're just going to call him
Who is the
Putris.
chair of the Board of Funeral Services, blamed Affordable Cremation Solutions owner Kenneth Kinser for failing to follow state rules. I think that's just rules of humanity and decency.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my
want to know
God.
what's cheap? Getting bodies buried in the backyard. There you
Yeah.
go. You don't have to pay.
Piotris wrote an order, and he says that the health and physical safety of the public are in immediate jeopardy. And the suspension of the operations in Kinser's license was supposed to be 30 days, pending a formal hearing, which was scheduled for July the 13th. And then while suspended, the funeral home owner was prohibited from conducting funeral services, accepting remains for cremation, and all other activities of a funeral practitioner. 30 days. He just got
30
suspended
days.
for 30 days.
Yeah.
And then on this last one, this is, let's see. No, it's not. It's not, because I found so many of them, and they were all good.
God, how many are there?
This one is from North Carolina, and this is, so that's not that far from us.
No, that's not far at all.
And this is by Chad Silber, and let's see, I was trying. This is from WFMY News2, and this was originally written June 22nd of 2021, and it was updated July the 5th of 2021. And this is entitled "Local Funeral Home Director Hid Corpses and Cashed In, Investigators Say." And it says the subtitle is "The Funeral Home Director is accused of stashing bodies he was hired to cremate and took money from grieving families."
Question, what about the people with the open caskets and such like that? Those type of things. Does he hide the bodies afterwards?
I don't know. Hang on just a minute. A local funeral home director is accused of taking advantage of grieving families, and Jeremiah Randall J.R. Whitt was arrested by Caswell County Sheriff's deputies earlier this month, accused of disturbing crimes.
Accused?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're definitely disturbing.
The sheriff's office said he hid 2 corpses on residential property after he was hired to cremate the remains. Whitt is the funeral director of the Harrelson Funeral Home in Yanceyville. At the end of May, someone reported an odor near Whitt's family property in Samora Township. Investigators said they found 2 corpses in a horse trailer on the property.
A horse trailer? Why?
The sheriff's office said the corpses were meant for cremation, and investigators said Whitt took the money from the families to have them cremated, but never finished the job. He should be horsewhipped.
Yeah, absolutely.
The arrest warrant stated Whitt received $1,765 from one woman for the cremation of her father, who died November the 21st, 2020. But the cremation was not performed. Now remember, this arrest was in 2021. And the warrant also said that Whitt received almost $2,500 from Tamara Thompson for the cremation of Richard Elliott, and whose services were not performed.
Oh my God.
The warrant also said Whitt did disturb, vandalize, and desecrate the remains of one woman's father by storage of the body outside of the standard practices of a funeral home service and allowing the long-term decomposition of the body, which was to have been cremated months prior. And the investigation comes on the heels of a larger investigation from the North Carolina Department of Insurance, which handles cases involving funeral homes. And this happened December 3rd of 2020. The North Carolina Department of Insurance issued a news release revealing Whitt was charged with felony insurance fraud. According to the release, so Whitt has been at this for a minute.
Definitely.
He tried to obtain payment for funeral services by claiming to have witnessed the insurance document signature of a woman who had been dead for nearly a year.
Oh my God.
And investigators said the offense occurred on November the 18th of 2019. Whitt is charged with 2 counts of disturbing human remains and 2 counts of obtaining property by false pretense. Seems like there needs to be a little stronger charge for these things.
Absolutely. And I think after they die, that their bodies need to be like
pig pole. That's the
not pig pole, but treated the same way.
Now this is the last
way that they treated other people's bodies.
This is the last one. This comes from EastIdahoNews.com from September the 7th. That's not that long ago, just a couple of weeks, 2021. And this is by Nate Eaton. And the title of this, at least 12 bodies, 50 fetuses found inside Pocatello Funeral Home. Police have positively identified 5 bodies found at Downard Funeral Home, are working to identify 7 others and the remains of approximately 50 fetuses. Now, I'm sorry, that's no longer a fetus. That's a baby. That's an infant.
Yeah.
Because once it's outside the body, it's a baby.
Yeah.
Now, this double-speak bullshit with these terms, no, that's baby. had been turned over to Ada County coroner, and the Pocatello Police Department said Monday is working with a local funeral home and the Bangor County Coroner's Office to contact family members of the deceased. And they said at this time detectives believe the decedents who were scheduled to be buried were buried, and the unidentified individuals that were found had been scheduled for cremation, a news release says. So the remains of approximately 50 babies found at the scene are now in the custody of the Ada County coroner for further investigation. Detectives are awaiting the results of the Ada County coroner's investigation to determine the exact number of babies.
Oh.
Police have received hundreds of tips and requests for information since news broke Friday that multiple decomposing bodies and babies were found inside Downard Funeral Home. The business was previously in charge of donating cadavers to Idaho State University for scientific study, but the relationship ended last year after the university had stopped receiving donations for a period of time. In the process of ending the relationship, the university discovered some families believed the remains of their loved ones had already been donated. However, the university had no record of ever receiving those bodies.
Oh
and,
my God.
You know, because this has not been that long ago, it says to help expedite the funeral home investigation, the Pocatello Police Department is asking concerned citizens to report questions and tips. And they do have a website, and I will include that in the description box. And please don't think that we're being intentionally, what's the word I'm looking for?
Disrespectful?
Yes, indeed. Of these families and of the people. It is that...
You need humor to get through shit.
Yeah, because that's ridiculous. It is just, and God love them.
It's just so ridiculous.
Those families.
You have to laugh at it, or else you will just end up crying in a corner.
I think the people that did these horrible things,
I think they need to be treated the exact same way that they treated the bodies and then some.
Well, I think it's a matter of bringing back public stocks. You know, when they would
public
have
hangings?
Well, no, what it was, the stocks were different in that they had the individual stand up. There was a piece of wood at the bottom in between the struts there. They put their head in the center hole. They put their hands in the other one. There was another piece of wood that came down and was locked, so these people could not get out of these. And the public went by, and they did whatever they wanted to. If they wanted to throw rotten produce at them, fine. If they wanted to slap their face, spit on them, whatever. Because the individuals that had done something bad enough to be put in the stocks usually deserved it. Now, there's always some that didn't deserve it and went through it. But for the most part, now these people, if they were found guilty, if they were convicted, absolutely that's what needs to be done. Those families need to be able to go through there and show pictures. Show pictures, make them look at it.
Mm-hmm. This is the person that you treated.
But I don't know.
This way. This is the person that you desecrated their bodies.
You would have to be some kind of a psychopath or sociopath to do that stuff.
Absolutely you do.
Who does that? I mean, seriously.
What you just answered your own question beforehand.
I know, yeah. But it is mind-boggling. And in one of those, I don't know whether I got that one or not, that the babies were found up in the ceiling.
Yes. Yes.
And it seems like that movie, was it A Haunting in Connecticut, where, I can't remember if it was that one or not, where the family had, for a while, moved into the place that had been a funeral home. No.
What is it?
It's a spider. I'll get him.
Are you going to bop my head?
No.
Ah, fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
I got him.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! I'm done. Bye.
There was a rather large spider that just...
Fuck you! It hit my face! No, you're done. You're done. I'm done.
Anyhow,
You're canceled. That's
this was based on an actual thing as far as a funeral home that had put corpses into the walls.
Uh-huh. You hit my face with the spider!
I didn't hit you with the spider.
The spider hit my face. I felt it.
It hit your face, but I had the broom and was trying to get the spider.
I was hit. I'm hit.
All right, next time I'll just let him dangle down on you.
No, don't let him swing at me.
Spiders, bats. Honestly, some of those who may be new to the channel. Was it back in the spring, or when was it that we had the bat?
It was early it was back in the spring.
And we had a bat that got in the house, and it honestly, for that to be a spontaneous recording, it was interesting. So we've had spiders, we've had bats. We've discussed people who do not do the affordable crematory, whatever it is.
I mean, if you're gonna do affordable, the lady that honestly does, ask a mortician. She is affordable, but she's also ethical. She does a really good job.
Well, I have explained to family, if barring unforeseen, because 56, and it's like certain things you have to start thinking about. It's like, I want to be buried in the backyard. I honestly get one of those big-ass banker boxes. They're indigent caskets, but it's a big-ass cardboard banker box.
Why don't we just get you a box that had like one of those old TVs in it and just put you in there?
Well, you could probably stuff me in there, but rigor mortis, you got to factor that in.
That's true.
But as far as a winding sheet, put me in there, bury me in the backyard where the cats are. I mean, no metal. That's my belief system as far as everything is supposed to go back into the earth.
I wouldn't mind being skinned and put as a piece of taxidermy.
No. And I told Kid, even as far as, usually decomposition is finished within a year, especially around here or something. I mean, I don't want something digging me up and dragging me through the yard. That would be bad. I don't want possums on me. But if he wanted to later on dig up the bones and use them for artistic purposes, I have no problem with that.
In all honesty, though, you have to look up what laws are available in this area and this state because of where we live, because the laws are fucky.
Well,
if we're even allowed to put you in the backyard.
Well, and that's what you were telling me, that the funeral director, that you said that you had to have his permission.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand if you're near some kind of municipal water source or something, but we are not.
Exactly. So, like, just check the laws, check the rules of the state, check with the local, funeral home. Be like, hey, we're not going to do an expensive thing. We're not going to buy a lot. I'm literally going to be put in the backyard.
Yeah.
Like,
sign off on it.
Yeah.
At some later date, we will do a cup about the sin eaters. Now, that was the Appalachian. I'm sure that it probably came from Scotland, Ireland, someplace like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we will discuss that and how remnants of that still apply in our area.
Yeah.
He's ready to go in after the spider.
I'm done.
Do I need to edit that part or leave it?
No, leave it.
So, hopefully this has not been too morose for people out there.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, it is the thought of it. It is black humor, which helps you through some really horrific things.
Absolutely it does.
Because that is horrifying.
Yeah.
And it just, I can't even imagine. I would have beat somebody half to death. I really would have.
Mm-hmm.
So, that had another corpse that I would have had a corpse that I would have had to hide. So, there you go. If you've had experiences with the paranormal or supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids,
experiences with funeral homes.
Oh, God, I hope nobody that is a viewer has had a horrible experience with funeral home. I truly do. But if you've got local, family, regional, myths, legends, what?
I'm listening to you.
Well, see, that was like the Screaming Skulls yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, those people wanted their skulls to be displayed in those dwellings.
Right.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Their essence is still there. So,
Well, yeah, it's their bones.
Yeah.
And bones don't easily decay.
No. So it's a pretty cool thing. And it's cultural how people deal with those things.
Yeah.
So, any of that stuff, send us an email at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And if this one didn't want to make you want to scream, what would? Seriously.
Right.
So you all have a
that baby's found in the ceiling.
That's horrific. Hey, I've heard worse lately. I have heard worse.
Oh God, that's another topic.
That's a topic I wasn't even going.
Oh.
I don't have it in me.
Okay.
Do not. So we'll see you on the next cup, and you all have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.